And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Teachdaire from Baked Jedi Academy. I think I said that all right. Now, he is a Dolphin, been playing for about 2.5 years. I know him as Blue Thunder, and he wants to know a couple of things. What are the next couple Zetas he should be working on? The next factions that he should be focused on, and those are kind of interconnected. And then what ships to focus on. And the first thing that we can go through is kind of the ships to focus on, so we can get that out of the way, because then the factions and Zetas will take up the rest of the video. So when we go into ships, we know your favorites, we know the characters that you're already developing, but you have the Chimera. The one capital ship that you're kind of sort of developing but need to continue is the Executrix. That's a really great alternate ship, and you need at least 2 of these bad boys, because you're going to have to be able to run an offensive and defensive team for things like Territory Wars, Grand Arena, and whatnot. So at least get your Executrix leveled up and the character Grand Moff Tarkin geared up. As far as the other ships go, obviously there is a huge push for Houndstooth. I see you have IG-2000 in there. That's possibly for the Millennium Falcon, so you might want to, I think you have it in your favorites, you might want to gear that up and level that up, so get the stars and be able to hopefully possibly be able to get the new Millennium Falcon. Your TIE Advanced is looking really pretty good, and your Phantom 2 is looking pretty good, but on that list also would be Ghost. It's an excellent ship paired with Phantom 2. Both of those ships really should be worked together. And then XB, of course, down here, Xanadu's Blood, is a 3-star ship. You're going to want to develop this for a couple of reasons. One, expanding your overall roster. 2, it's an excellent ship with Houndstooth. 3, it's probably going to be needed for the new Millennium Falcon. And 4, it's a great AoE ship, so you can take it into any lineup to really be able to do good damage. So Xanadu's Blood, it's now farmable. Go ahead and start farming it as well. And then also, this is a relatively new ship as well. It's not farmable yet, but it is in shipments, and it will make its way to be farmable very soon. And when you get it, you definitely want to farm this ship. It's another ship that does AoE, and when it comes in from reinforcement, it does exposes, and then AoE, it can put health down. And so it's a really great ship, especially in this current meta where you're trying to chew through a bunch of ships that just have a crazy amount of health and protection and reduce damage, such as the Mace meta and whatnot. So Anakin's ship is kind of a go-to. Xanadu's Blood, those are both kind of in the same line. But Xanadu's you could start to develop. Your Slave 1 looks probably good enough. Ghost and Phantom 2, you're going to want to put a little more energy into your Phoenix squads for those 2 ships. IG-2000, just get the stars on that particular ship. And then, of course, the last is TIE Silencer. What an excellent ship. Very easy to get both the character and the ship to 7 stars. It's actually the node, just, Warrior's tip of the day, the node that I use personally when you aren't farming anything particular, because you get both the character and the ship. It's a cheap node, and you can get a bunch of Shard Shop currency for gear that way. Now, we're going to go ahead and go into the factions and Zetas. We're going to kind of merge them together. And I'm going to talk about 6 different factions, and of those 6 different factions, which factions you need a little bit of work on and which factions you need a lot of bit of work on. And then we'll talk about the Zetas in each of those factions. So you're going to have some like side projects, and then you're going to have some like major projects as far as factions go. Now, being a Dolphin with 2.5 years, your roster looks decent. The 6 factions you're going to want to work on is the Old Republic, Night Sisters, Imperial Troopers, First Order, Bounty Hunters, and Ewoks. Let's go ahead and kind of go in the order that I just described. Now, why Old Republic? Well, first you need Revan, and Old Republic is going to be how you get Revan. The other thing is the new Old Republic that are not farmable yet will probably be needed for the new Darth Malak or the new Darth Revan. And so, but aside from all of that, the Old Republic that is farmable are all very, very good characters for Grand Arena, Galactic War, Territory Wars, Territory Battles, the works. It's like across the board, really great characters. So all of the free-to-play Old Republic that you can get, you know, such as Jolie Bindo, and you do have Basilishan at least in there, but try to get all of the Old Republic that are farmable, because Revan is now one of the easiest to get characters in the game, but he's one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful character when paired with the right you know, combination of tunes. The next is going to be Night Sisters, and I'm listing them in the need of how bad you need them. Old Republic, you have like none of them except for Bastila. Night Sisters, you have them, but you just don't have them develop well at all. And it would definitely be, of course, Asajj Ventress, Old Daka, Zombie Talzin, and then you could either go Talia or Spirit. I actually recommend Spirit because you're not going to want to develop all of them out. You're a dolphin. You're not going to have enough time to focus on everything. And Spirit has really good usability in PvP. I know Talia has an edge when it comes to the Sith Raid, but the Spirit has an edge when it comes to PvP. So definitely do those top 5. You got to get them 7-star, get them up to at least gear 9, gear 10, and then you're going to eventually want a Zeta, Asajj lead, or Mother Talzin lead, and then eventually they're uniques. But for now, Mother Talzin lead is probably the way to go because it's a little more universal in all of the other game modes that you can go through. Now, Imperial Troopers are pretty amazing. You're starting kind of on a couple of the characters, but Imperial Troopers is number 3 on this list. Revan should be number 1 priority, which is why Old Republic really made the top. And Night Sisters are going to be used everywhere in the game and going to get you good gear from the Sith Raid. And Revan teams will get you good gear from the Sith Raid. So that's why that Old Republic and the Night Sisters make the number 1, number 2 slot, because we want to get you gear so you can gear these guys up to the nth degree. Now, Imperial Troopers are universal, can be used basically anywhere, and Shore Trooper, Death Trooper, Snow Trooper, Stark, and Veers, your top 5 are really the ones you want to run with. However, I do recommend Range Trooper, who's at 2 stars. He's farmable as well, and Range Trooper really makes this team pop, and it allows for you to pull Death Trooper out or Shore Trooper out from time to time for other varying comps that sometimes utilize those particular individuals. Now, you basically need all of them. You need to develop them all, and eventually down the road, you'll want to Zeta General Veers, but just like Old Republic and their Zetas are kind of out of reach right now, and Night Sisters and their Zetas are kind of out of reach right now, the same is true with the Imperial Troopers. They're kind of out of reach right now. I would not throw a Zeta on Veers at a level 1. Well, you can't, even if you wanted to. So, but those are the 3 top factions. Now we're going to go into 3 other factions that you're doing pretty well in, and that you are going to be able to start looking at Zetas and the characters you may want to continue developing a little bit more out. Number 1 of the secondary factions is Bounty Hunters. They look great. I am sure that you're trying to get Chewie his 7th star, so continue to develop Jango Fett to 7 stars. I'm hoping he's in your favorites. And then IG and Cad, those are the other 2. You got to get those 3, Jango Fett, IG-88, and Cad Bane. If those 3 get up to, like, you know, gear level 11 and then 7 stars, you should be able to get that 7th star on Chewie, which is important. But then even more important is Jango becomes an alternate leader if you end up down the road Zetaing his leadership. But even more important than that is IG-88 and Cad Bane each have ships, and they're ships that I told you to develop. So these 2 guys you want to continue. So with Bounty Hunters, because you don't have a 7-star Chewie, you're going to want to continue the development, and specifically Jango Fett, IG-88, and Cad Bane. The second in this second part of the factions is your First Order, and again, your First Order look okay. You've got some medium, you know, you got most of them to 7 stars, and you've got some gear 8, you know, you've got some gear invested in these guys, but Kylo Ren Unmasked is in fact the best leader, and so I highly recommend that Kylo Ren Unmasked be one of the next Zetas you do. And this is why, if you pop a Zeta on Kylo Ren Unmasked, the whole team becomes phenomenally better than what it is currently. And you will also have a motivator to go ahead and favorite Kylo Ren Unmasked and get him geared up, leveled up, starred up, and he's easy to star up, especially with his ship. And then First Order Executioner would be the other one that I would highly recommend, getting the stars for and gearing up. And then lastly, First Order Stormtrooper or First Order Officer. Both of those are kind of at gear 8 and are both great, but Kylo Ren Unmasked and First Order Executioner, both, those are the lowest 2 on the totem pole. Get them up to 7 stars, get them geared up, get a Zeta on Kylo Ren Unmasked, and this team is going to go from being almost unusable to totally and completely usable in lots of different modes of the game. Last faction I want you to kind of continue to develop is the Ewoks. Now these are kind of on the side and you developed them enough but to get certain things, but you definitely want to continue 7 stars on the development of these characters. 7 stars is important, as well as up to about gear 10, because C-3PO will be coming back around. Now they're on the lowest of the totem pole of these secondary factions because your bounty hunters are almost done. Your First Order is important for more areas of the game than Ewoks. And then Ewoks, the C-3PO just came out, so you've got a little bit of time before you kind of dig back into the Ewoks. But definitely continue to develop the Ewoks. You put a Zeta on Chief Chirpa, and you've got them all to like basically gear 8. So continue to farm Wicket and Poplu and Logray to get those guys to 7 stars, and then you can go ahead and take their gear up to about gear 10 or so, and you will see a significant improvement in all of theirs, especially when you go into the C-3PO event again. Now that we've talked about those 6 factions and kind of some of the Zetas associated with some of those factions, I just want to talk about a couple independent Zetas that you should think about. So some of the Zetas that I said you're going to have to kind of wait on a little bit is, of course, the Old Republic, like Jolee, Zalbar Mission, T3. Those Zetas will have to wait, but definitely focus on Old Republic. Definitely with General Veers, you're going to have to wait, but that's a Zeta you should have in your mind. Asajj Ventress lead or Mother Talzin lead for Night Sisters, but you're going to have to wait because they're really bad. So of all the characters you have, what are 5 or 6 Zetas you could do right now that would really make it pop? Well, the first I mentioned was Kylo Ren Unmasked. We just talked about that, but the second one is actually going to come out of your Jedi, and that is Battle Meditation, his special. This Battle Meditation Zeta is absolutely amazing. I would highly recommend you go ahead and do Battle Meditation on Yoda. Another character that you can focus on, a couple of Zetas, is Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, you're using Grand Admiral Thrawn in ships, and you can single or double Zeta this guy, and both of them are going to improve the health of the ship, which doesn't matter, and the speed of the ship, which does matter, and then some of the damage. So the speed is really the most important part, but this guy can become a brand new leader for Empire for you for Grand Arena and Territory Wars. And the ebb and flow makes him better because he counters more often, has higher tenacity. So there's a lot of good benefits with that. So I personally would probably do the ebb and flow first, and then the legendary strategist, his leadership ability. Do one or do both, but both of these Zetas are definitely worth it. And now leadership Zetas are more important than ever because one Zeta turns 5 individuals or 3 individuals into far better characters because it's passed and shared amongst all of the individuals. Now, the last 2 are actually Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion, and the reason is they're still amazing, and eventually you're going to get Traya, and you're going to want all of their unique Zetas done, but Lord of Hunger, and then, of course, down on Sion, get him to 7 stars, and then do his Lord of Pain. Darth Sion is really good, but his Lord of Pain makes him absolutely amazing, and Darth Nihilus's Lord of Hunger is not too shabby, but when you combine those 2 together, it makes for a really, really powerful duo, much like some of the older duos in the past, such as Biggs and Wedge or Chirrut and Baze. These guys, the Darth Nihilus and Sion combo, can really go on any team, even without Traya, and they do phenomenal. So make sure that you really consider these 2 Zetas. So Kylo Ren Unmasked, Leadership, Grandmaster Yoda unique, both of Thrawn's, and then Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion uniques. I think that would really help your teams out. Teachdaire, what do you think about the suggestions I've made? Of course, the last suggestion for ships is just to continue to develop your geos. I know you already are developing your Geonosians, but all of the ships I mentioned, like Houndstooth, Phantom 2, Ghost, you know, the XB, the ETA2, those are all phenomenal ships that you definitely want to continue to develop. If you're looking for the Millennium Falcon, keep farming for the IG-2000 and XB because they're both farmable now. And as far as factions, Old Republic, Night Sisters, Imperial Troopers are your top 3 that really need a ton of work. And then for the ones that you just kind of want to work on the side and kind of clean up, First Order, of course, with Fox and Kylo Ren Unmasked, and then Ewoks, just a little bit more gear and 7 stars on them for C-3PO, and of course Bounty Hunters for Chewie, and then for the ships, you want to finish off Jango Fett, IG-88, and CAD. You got a lot of Zeta opportunities, but the 5 or 6 that we just mentioned, I think, are going to be the best. So everyone watching, what are your thoughts for Teachdaire? Leave them in the comments down below and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.